If you grew up loving the magic of Harry Potter, but want something with a little more edge, a little more violence, and a little more creepiness, then this is a series for you. The first book, The Bone Witch, was absolutely fascinating. T lives in a world where magic is part of their everyday lives. Her sisters all have magical talents, and everyone wears their heart on a necklace instead of their sleeve. Each person's heart glass displays their physical and emotional state. If you have a lot of magic within you, your heart glass turns silver, and you train to become an Asha, kind of like a witch. Young T is devastated when she hears that her brother has been killed. In her heartbreaking reaction to the news, she accidentally raises him from the dead. T now knows exactly what kind of witch she will be: a bone witch, a necromancer. Bone witches are feared throughout the lands, and T must learn to accept herself and her powers if she is ever going to learn to control them. If she can't learn to control her powers, the whole world is doomed. I love that this book alternates between two totally different timelines in the plot. Rin Chupeco gives you just enough to keep begging for more and makes the book impossible to put down. The ending of the book is such a crazy twist. I need more answers. Needless to say, I will be hoping and waiting for a sequel to this one. Plot twist, I just got an advanced reader copy of the second book in this series, The Heart Forger, last week. Much like the first book, I could not put it down. Chupeco immediately kidnaps you and takes you into an imaginary land full of witches, magic, and monsters. Chupeco continues alternating the book between two different timelines. By doing so, she increases the tension and foreshadowing and made me have to read it that much faster just so I could figure out what in the world was going to happen to all the characters. It is brilliant how she seems to give away the ending before you even understand what is happening in the story. Sounds confusing, I know. But I promise you, when you get to the end, you'll find out just how twisted the plot can really become. In the second installment, T is fighting to save her close friends, while trying not to give in to her own demons in the process. It seems like everyone is after her, and I honestly spent most of the book trying to figure out who T could even trust. So many people are trying to claim T's incredible power for their own. The only thing more strong than her own power is her hunger for revenge against all who have wronged her. To find out why she is so hellbent, you have to read the book. Check out The Bone Witch and The Heart Forger by Rin Chupeco. The next series that I want to talk to you about, I actually got a copy of the first book, The Prince, for free on BookBub. If you don't know about BookBub, I highly encourage you to check it out. You get free and super cheap book deals tailored to your interests every single day. So that's where I get a lot of the books that I review. But anyway, so The Prince was the first one, and I loved it so much, and I read it in like a day that then I had to go out and download the second one and the third one on my Kindle and read all of them pretty much in a weekend. They are super fast reads. I would call these books that are good for people who liked the Selection series, little bit like Hunger Games, kind of, but it's called the Spy Girl series, and so it's an 18-year-old girl that is she's being trained to be a spy, and there's all this crazy, mysterious stuff about her background going on. Her parents died, and she barely survived a car accident, and so she gets whisked away to this private school, and they're training her to be basically a cold-blooded killer spy for the government. So at 18, she gets her first real job to go and protect this prince of a made-up country. And of course, there's a love triangle and lots of action, but it reminds me of those books that you want to read that you can just like turn your brain off, and they're good reads for like going on vacation. So this series is awesome. It is a little spicy, so I would recommend maybe like 16 mature reader or like 17 years old. But other than that, it was a really fast read. I mean, it didn't necessarily stimulate my brain, but it was good enough that I did actually go out and buy it. Here's another book that I got for free from BookBub that I really liked and would actually, I'm actually going to purchase it for our library. I think my sixth graders would really enjoy this. So there's a 17-year-old girl that she's incredibly strong. She's very fast. She can run like the wind, but not in a normal sense. So she realizes that she has kind of these weird powers. And so while she's trying to just, graduate from high school so that she can go on a trip for summer before she starts college, she, of course, meets a boy named Blake. And he is really nosy and really wants to get to know her and is trying to figure out what her secret is. And she's really sarcastic, and so I really appreciated her sense of humor. I think she's a great role model for girls because she is such a strong character. But they finally come to an understanding that not only does she have these supernatural strength powers, but so does Blake. And so I really just wanted to finish the book to find out what the real story was between them. And they fall in love together. And then she actually goes to, when he leaves, because he doesn't want to turn her into this secret society that may or may not be a good thing, she goes to save him. So it's a pretty cool, girl conquer the world type story. And I would totally read the next one. It's actually a trilogy, so I'm excited to check it out and see what else the book series has to offer. So in all transparency, I've seen this book a bunch of times, and I honestly judged by the cover, and I was like, I don't know. I don't really want to read it right now. I know it won the Newbery. I'll come back to it. So I finally did start reading this book last week, and I read it in 3 days. It's fabulous. I totally understand why it's won so many awards, and I'm upset with myself that I did judge it by its cover. It is such a good read. If you like Harry Potter, any kind of book that has some element of magic or witches or wizards or dragons, then this is the book for you. It is absolutely phenomenal. The characters are so endearing, and I just could not put this book down. The main character is a girl named Luna, and a witch comes to rescue her when she's left out in the woods due to a superstition from where she's from. And so every year her town sacrifices a child and leaves him out in the woods for the evil witch. Well, the witch is actually not evil. She's actually really, really good. And so she raises the girl on her own. And when she runs out of goat's milk, the title comes from the fact that she feeds the baby from the stars, and then this little girl drinks from the moon, which actually makes her become a witch herself, and she has magic. So it's fascinating. I don't want to give away too much more because it's such a good read, and if you have not read this book, you have got to go out and read it. It's absolutely phenomenal, and now I'm telling all of my kids to read it. I hope you do too.